The announcement came on a crisp autumn morning in Ottawa. It was not delivered with the usual bureaucratic monotone. Instead, it landed with the force of a sonic boom. Canada, after years of deliberation and intense lobbying, had made its choice. The Royal Canadian Air Force would not be flying the F-35 Lightning II. It would not be flying an advanced Super Hornet. Canada had chosen the Saab JAS-39 Gripen E. The news sent immediate and powerful shockwaves through Washington. The news sent immediate and powerful shockwaves through Moscow. The news sent immediate and powerful shockwaves through Beijing. A decision that was supposed to be a predictable footnote had become a strategic earthquake. The quiet, unassuming fighter from Sweden was now center stage. This was not merely a procurement decision, it was a statement. Canada had sidestepped the behemoth American military-industrial complex. It had looked past fifth-generation giants and chose a different path. The Gripen E, once dismissed as a light fighter, was being framed as Canada's guardian. The implications were staggering. For superpowers reliant on industrial weight, this was a terrifying validation. It proved a smaller, smarter, more adaptable platform could challenge the order. The phone lines between the Pentagon and the State Department began to burn. Something had gone terribly wrong for them and wonderfully right for Saab. The immediate reaction was disbelief, then a frantic scramble for information. Why the Gripen? What had the Canadians seen? The Gripen E wasn't just a patched fourth-generation jet. It was something different. A platform built from the ground up for a specific kind of warfare, designed to fight outnumbered and win, engineered to operate from dispersed, austere locations. The story of the Gripen is quintessentially Swedish. It is a tale born of necessity, ingenuity, a fierce desire for independence. During the Cold War, Sweden was in a precarious position, a neutral nation, wedged between NATO and the Warsaw Pact. To survive, it needed a military that could punch above its weight, defend a vast, rugged territory, without outside help. BAS 90 demanded the Air Force operate from dispersed locations, including reinforced public roads. From this crucible came the original JS-39 Gripen A and B JAS, JAC, attack, spanning, fighter, attack, reconnaissance. A true multi-role from day one, unlike specialized contemporaries for air superiority, or ground attack. The Gripen had to do it all, small enough to hide in forests, simple enough for conscript mechanics, cheap enough to be procured in large numbers. Saab achieved this with a lightweight design, a single powerful engine, and a Delta Canard layout for agility. Canada's decision to select the Gripen E was the culmination of a long and tortured procurement process. For years, the debate was framed as a simple choice between the F-35 and something else. The F-35 was the politically connected, alliance-friendly option. It promised fifth-generation stealth and deep integration with the United States military. Yet its astronomical cost, both to purchase and to operate, was a constant source of political friction. For a country like Canada, with its vast Arctic territory to patrol and its commitment to fiscal prudence, the F-35's price tag was more than just a number. It represented a potential hollowing out of the entire defense budget for decades to come. The Royal Canadian Air Force had a unique set of requirements that the Gripen E seemed tailor-made to meet. Canada's primary mission is sovereignty patrol over immense, sparsely populated areas, particularly in the high north. This demands an aircraft with long legs, low operating costs, ability to function in extreme cold, and operate from austere forward operating locations. The Gripen E, with its design roots in Sweden's BAS 90 doctrine, excels in these areas. Its ability to take off from short icy runways, rapid refueling, rapid rearming by a small ground crew in minutes, is a game-changer for Arctic operations. The F-35, by contrast, requires a massive logistical and maintenance footprint, making it ill-suited for the kind of dispersed operations the RCAF needs. Beyond the operational logistics, there was a deeper strategic calculation at play. By choosing the Gripen E, Canada was not just buying a fighter jet, it was buying technological sovereignty. The Gripen E offered Canada full access. Canadian engineers can integrate their own systems, develop their own software updates, without needing permission from Washington, ensuring that Canada's primary defense asset is truly its own. The true magic of the Gripen E lies not in its airframe or its engine, but in its central nervous system. Its avionics architecture is a radical departure from traditional fighter jet design. Most legacy aircraft, even some newer ones like the F-35, have deeply integrated or federated systems. While powerful, this design makes upgrades incredibly difficult and expensive. Saab, learning from the world of commercial information technology, implemented a distributed avionics architecture, or DAA. This is the secret sauce that makes the Gripen E so incredibly adaptable and future-proof. Think of it like a smartphone. In a traditional fighter, flight controls, radar, weapons, communications are hardwired together. On the Gripen E, these functions are treated like apps. The core flight-critical systems are completely separated from the tactical mission systems. This means you can add a new missile, a new sensor pod, or a new communications data link by simply developing a new app and plugging it into the mission system without any risk of interfering with the jet's ability to fly. This process can take months, not years, giving the Gripen E a massive advantage in the fast-paced cycle of technological development. This digital flexibility is most visible to the pilot through the Wide Area Display, or WAD. Instead of a cluttered dashboard of small separate screens, the Gripen E cockpit is dominated by a single panoramic touchscreen. This display fuses data from the jet's ESA radar, its advanced infrared search and track system, its electronic warfare suite, and off-board sensors from other friendly assets into one intuitive tactical picture. They can swipe, pinch, and zoom through data. The Gripen E is essentially a flying supercomputer. If the avionics are the Gripen E's brain, then its electronic warfare suite is, honestly, its superpower. This is arguably the single most disruptive technology on the aircraft. And yeah, it's the primary source of concern for global military planners. While stealth aircraft like the F-22 and the F-35 focus on having a low physical radar cross-section, the Gripen E takes a different approach. It simply assumes it will be detected. Its goal isn't to be invisible, but to be untouchable in the electromagnetic spectrum. It's designed to be a ghost in the machine, actively manipulating what the enemy sees, actively manipulating what the enemy hears, actively manipulating what the enemy thinks. The Gripen E is packed with highly sensitive wide-spectrum sensors, constantly listening to the electronic environment. It can detect the faintest radar emissions from hundreds of miles away, classifying them, and building a detailed map of enemy air defenses. But it doesn't just listen, it talks back. The aircraft is equipped with state-of-the-art digital jammers and decoys powered by gallium nitride technology. These systems can generate incredibly powerful and sophisticated jamming signals, capable of blinding even the most advanced enemy radars. It can make itself disappear from a radar screen, or create multiple phantom targets to confuse and overwhelm enemy operators. This capability is not just defensive. The Gripen E can use its electronic warfare suite as an offensive weapon. It can escort a strike package of older, non-stealthy aircraft and use its electronic attack capabilities to carve a safe corridor through dense enemy air defenses. In this role, the Gripen E becomes the digital quarterback, blinding enemy radars and suppressing surface-to-air missile sites, making the Gripen E a unique and highly valuable asset. It is a force multiplier of the highest order. When you place the Gripen E on the chessboard against the top fighters from the US, Russia, China, the comparisons are not always straightforward. It's a classic case of asymmetric capabilities. Against the American F-35, the Gripen E appears outmatched in one key area: stealth. The F-35 is designed from the ground up to be a low observable penetrator. However, the Gripen E counters this with its superior operational availability and radically lower cost. A nation could field 2 or 3 Gripen E's for the price of one F-35 and fly them far more often. Furthermore, the Gripen's advanced Earth system is a potent counter to stealth. It detects the heat signature of an aircraft, not its radar reflection, against Russia's top dog, the Su-57 Felon. The Su-57 is a beast, super maneuverability, raw kinematic performance. In a close-range dogfight, thrust vectoring would likely give it an edge. But modern air combat is rarely decided at close quarters. The Gripen E's strategy is to avoid the merge entirely. It leverages superior situational awareness, network-centric capabilities, and the long reach of its Meteor missile. The comparison with China's J-20 Mighty Dragon presents another set of challenges. Like the F-35, the J-20 is a large, stealthy aircraft designed for long-range interception and strike missions. The Gripen E's advantage lies in digital dominance. J-20 stealth may be effective against older radars, but questionable against the Gripen's cognitive electronic warfare suite. The Gripen could use EW to disrupt the J-20's data links, isolate it from its support network, and engage on more favorable terms. Ultimately, the Gripen E's strength is adaptability. It isn't designed to be the absolute best in any single category. Instead, it's excellent across the board and has a disruptive advantage in the electromagnetic spectrum. It challenges the definition of air superiority. It is the thinking man's fighter in an age of brute force solutions. In Washington, in the Pentagon, on K Street, quiet fury, professional anxiety. This isn't about losing a contract, it's about losing the narrative. In Moscow, in Beijing. The Americans sold them the F-35, a golden sword. The Swedes sold them a digital scalpel. Defense experts and aviation journalists were abuzz with analysis. Dr. Alicia Bianchi. The Gripen E represents the democratization of high-end capabilities. Saab has decoupled electronic warfare dominance from the price tag of a stealth airframe. The focus shifted from counting stealth fighters to software-defined warfare, open architecture, rapid upgradability. The most significant reaction came from other middle power nations. South America, Southeast Asia, Brazil, India, Finland. No longer just a budget option, a strategic choice. The floodgates open. Saab's sales team fielding calls, defense attachés calling, tell us more about what the Canadians saw. The Gripen E changed the conversation. The story of the Gripen E and Canada's bold choice is more than just a chapter in military procurement. It marks a potential turning point in the philosophy of air power, heralding a new era where digital prowess may finally eclipse physical dominance. For decades, the trajectory of fighter design was clear: faster, higher, stealthier. This path led to magnificent but astronomically expensive machines, creating a technological and economic chasm between the superpowers and everyone else. The Gripen E challenges this entire paradigm. It argues that the future of air combat will be won not by the fighter that is hardest to see, but by the one that controls the flow of information. This shift has profound implications for the future. It suggests that the relentless and costly pursuit of ever more perfect stealth may be a fool's errand. As sensor technology and processing power continue to advance, the ability to detect low observable platforms will inevitably improve. The Gripen E's approach, assuming detection and focusing on dominating the electromagnetic spectrum, is a more sustainable and adaptable long-term strategy. It prioritizes software over airframe, turning the fighter jet into an upgradable platform, much like a personal computer, ready to evolve with the threat landscape. This is the dawn of the software-defined fighter. For Canada, this decision redefines its role on the world stage. By choosing the Gripen E, Canada would not just be a consumer of allied military technology, but a leader in a new way of thinking. It would be a key player in a network of like-minded nations, operating a platform that values intelligence, adaptability, and strategic independence. This move would position the RCAF as one of the most technologically advanced air arms in the world. It is a bold declaration of strategic autonomy in an increasingly complex world. Ultimately, the Gripen E serves as a powerful reminder that in the high-stakes game of aerial warfare, innovation does not always come from the biggest players. Sometimes it comes from the fringe, born of necessity and a different way of looking at the problem. The superpowers have been put on notice. The future of air combat may not belong to the biggest, most expensive fighter, but to the smartest. The ghost in the machine has arrived, and the sky will never look the same again.